never done it on my computer. Can you tune into my live and tell me what you see? Can you turn it down some? Hi everyone. We're doing a Q&A today on Roadie and gig apps if you have any questions. It's my mom and that TV.
Turned it off.
Let me know if you have any questions about Roadie or stacking gigs or different types of gigs, where you can earn money with your personal vehicle or anything like that. That's what we're talking about today. So while I'm waiting for people to come in, Roadie is one of those apps that you can do. My mama is just doing the most. I don't think it's something that you can do full time and make full time money. There's a lot of people on TikTok that are saying that you can do Roadie and make $300 to $400 a day. You can't. It's good for fill-in work. It's good for if you're in between a contract and you need some work or to pick up something. But like I said, I'm in Atlanta, where there's probably at any given time 200 gigs on there that you can choose, but it's very difficult for you to find consistent work on there where you're making a consistent living, but it's really good for fill-ins. And then there's the Roadie blocks. With the blocks, depending upon your market, because I've noticed that they've changed some of the pricing. So it was $108 for a vehicle and $200 for a cargo van. With the blocks, also, if you get a block, if you arrive to the block and the dock early, then you're able to get a better block. I learned that the hard way. So let's just say the block starts at 4 o'clock. And well, let me back up. Let me show you what it looks like. That probably would be a good starting point. Okay, so when you go onto this screen, there's a line on here that says find blocks. So you hit find blocks, and then it will tell you everything that's available during the week. Hold on. I don't think you can see it as clearly. Yeah, you can't see it. But anyway, you hit find block, it'll tell you what's available for the week, and then you sign up for that block. Once you sign up for the block, when it gets close to the time for you to do the block, it's going to come up on your screen as a gig that you, like say for instance, when you make an offer and you get it, it comes up like that on your screen. So then you're able to hit navigation. It will give you directions to the dock, wherever you're picking it up from. And then when you get there, it will start searching for the gig. If the block starts at 4 o'clock, you need to get there at 4 o'clock. Because what I was doing was, the first time I did it, because I like to test stuff so that I can tell y'all how it works. The first time I did it, I waited until about 4:30 because the line was, like, there's probably 30, 40 cars out there. So I was like, if I go a little bit later, there'll be less cars. The problem with going later is that you don't get the better gig. When I went early, I got there at 4 o'clock. I only had, I want to say I had 25 stops, but they were literally clustered together. So it only took me, the block is for 4 hours. It took me like 2 hours to do it. And that one was for $108, but they were all very close together. So even though it was more than I would normally like I would like 12 to 15 and not have to do 28 at 4 o'clock, because who wants to be out all night? It was a smaller section, and the mileage was much less. I want to say the mileage was probably like 40 miles, whereas when I went later, the mileage was like 150 miles, and it was less stops, but it was way spread out. Like it was not a good, it wasn't good at all. When it first came out, you had to do, you could only sign up for 4 at a time. Now it's looking like it's letting you sign up for like 7 at a time. They post the blocks on the Wednesdays, so you've got to get on there early, and if you want ideal times. But even if I'm looking at it right now, there's still stuff on there for today, so you can still do stuff if you wanted to. So there's the blocks, and then there's the Roadie XD. The Roadie XD is when you're picking up large. Teresa, we're talking about Roadie right now. There's large packages that they put into a route for you. So you can find those on your Roadie map by looking for the circles that have 5+. So look on the map, wherever you see a 5+, normally that's Roadie XD. And then you look at those, it'll tell you the size of the packages, how many packages, and you can look at the route and see where the route is going. You bid on that. When you get it, it will direct you to the Roadie XD dock. When you get there, they'll give you the pallet with all of your packages on it, and then you run that route. So, and then you can stack those too. So if you have a larger vehicle, you can stack the Roadie XDs. So you can do 2 or 3 of those as long as it fits in your car or your truck. So you need to know what fits in your car or your truck before you bid for it, because some of them are kind of weird. So let me see, I'll give you an example, because I'm in another state right now. So let me look to see what's in Georgia. So I'll tell you, I'll give you an example. Well, they don't have any on here right now. If you're in Atlanta, the Roadie dock is in Forest Park. They moved it. Initially, it was in Kennesaw. Now it's in Forest Park. And then there's one in Suwanee as well that I think the Mail Innovations is there. But if you need to know where it is, you can Google it. It'll tell you where the Roadie docks are. But like I said, you choose the gig. It'll tell you how many stops and how many packages, and it'll tell you the size of all the packages. So you have to make sure that all this stuff fits in your car before you accept it, because don't get there and there's a whole bunch of packages that don't fit, because then you'll get blocked from the app. And there's what's called Mail Innovations. With the Mail Innovations, you're basically picking up a bag of mail from the dock, and you just deliver the mail. They're like flat packages, and those pay kind of well, because I've seen some on there for like $200 for, I want to say it was like maybe 30 stops, but most of the stops are together. But again, it's not every day. So that's the problem. It's not consistent enough for you to plan around it. It's good when you can find it, but it's not consistent enough for you to say, okay, today I'm gonna get up and make $400 on Roadie. No, that ain't gonna happen. Like you have a very good day on Roadie, and then you have a very bad day on Roadie. So it just depends. If y'all have any questions, put them in the chat, or if you're interested in any other gig apps, let me know. But that's pretty much it with Roadie. Now, there's CVS prescriptions. If you want to do prescriptions, you can do those. You have to be certified to do prescriptions, and there's like a little training video that you have to watch. Once you do the training video, it allows you to pick up prescriptions. If you have a cargo van, then you can pick up larger things. Box trucks, there's stuff on there. I don't think there's enough on there. Like, again, in Atlanta, I've probably seen... there's a place that has pallets of water. They have one on there every day, and the place, I'm trying to think of the name, they do trucking equipment. They have stuff on there. One in Calhoun, Georgia, which is north of Atlanta, and the one that is I'm saying Atlanta. I don't know where you live, but you have to find it on the thing. And I would advise you to click all the circles, because just because the circles, so the numbers on the circles is how many miles it is for the gig. Don't think just because it says like 2 that it's not paying anything, because some of those pay really well. So you just got to go through them and you got to click them, because they could be anything. But there's stuff on there for box trucks. It's just not a lot. And again, it depends on your market. Tell me where you live. How does one sign up for Roadie XD? You don't really. It just comes up on your phone. And you just have to see where Houston has a lot. Houston is like Atlanta. Y'all got pretty good stuff on there. For the Roadie XD, you really have to look on the phone and hit the little circles. I mean, you got to find it in your market. And then you just bid on it. Now, if you just started Roadie, they're not going to give you XD. You have to start, you got to pay your dues and do some little ones. And when you start, don't just offer for one. Like, do 5, 10 at a time, because they're not going to give them out to you. But the more you click offer, the more your chances are to get into the algorithm. And then once you start getting offers, they'll give them to you. So like right now, like I'm in New Orleans right now. Let's just say if I wanted to do luggage, I'm probably 35 miles from the airport right now. But if I saw luggage on there and I hit offer, I probably would get it. But being a new person, you're not gonna get it. You gotta do some crappy stuff first, and then they'll give you the good stuff, and they'll also give you stuff where you're not within close proximity, because they don't want you to be really close to the pickup either. I don't know what that's all about. Like even with the Roadie XD, they don't want you at the dock, because people are camping out at the dock and they're taking up space, and people can't pick up their stuff because there's all these people at the dock. So there's that. Roadie also has Walmart. I thought the Walmart on Roadie was groceries, but it's not. It's boxes. So it'll be like TVs, cabinets, and again, it'll give you the measurements and it'll tell you how much it weighs. So you have to be signed up with Roadie first. Yes. Yeah, you can't do Roadie. You got to be signed up with Roadie. So download the app, get approved, and then you have to do the Roadie XD is on the Roadie app. It's all on the Roadie app. So you've got to get on the app before you can do anything. Can your authority go under someone else's name? Okay, there's no authority. This is a gig. And so let's talk about that. There's a difference between a gig and a carrier. This is a gig. So this has nothing to do with your authority. You just basically sign up and you do the gigs as you do the gigs. Now, if you're looking at an app like Curry, where you can sign on as a carrier or a courier, because there's two different things. As a gig, you cannot make an offer. You have to accept whatever they give you. If you have your authority, then you're able to make an offer. But that varies by app. Some of the apps don't. Like, Roadie is not one of those apps that allow you to make offers. You got to take what they give you. You can't ask for no more money. If you don't want to do it, just don't do it. But they're not going to give you anything else. So whatever it says is what you're going to get paid. Whereas an app like Curry, if you sign on as a carrier, then you can make an offer. So that's the difference. Hello, what do you think about Airspace? Do they assign packages according to proximity of the pick? I like Airspace. I think Airspace pays very well. They're very easy to deal with. Airspace, when I first got on the app, I had to be within 50 miles of the pickup. As I started doing Airspace, they started sending me stuff where I wasn't near the pickup. So again, we'll use Atlanta, for instance. My warehouse is in Dalton, Georgia, which is closer to Chattanooga. It's probably 30 miles from Chattanooga. If I was positioned in Dalton, I would never get anything for Atlanta. If I was in Atlanta, I would never get anything for Chattanooga. Now I get stuff. I'm in New Orleans, and I got something for Chattanooga. So I think once you start doing stuff on the app and they trust you, then they'll just start sending stuff out to you. The other thing with Airspace is that a lot of people don't know is that you can call the broker and ask for a return. Because whenever I do a run, I always call the broker and ask for a return. The first person that you get on the phone is not the broker if you happen to call. So what I do is I try to call on every app, on every gig on Airspace. If I'm running something, I find a reason to have to call. When you first call, press 4. The first person that you get is going to be the virtual assistant. That's not the broker. Make up something. Like I be making up stuff. Like I'm in New Orleans. I tell them that I can't reach the something. Figure out something, so they'll call you, so you can get the broker. Have them connect you to the broker. When you get the broker on the phone, that's when you say, hey, I'm on my way, because I do a run from Atlanta to Augusta. Then I'll say, hey, do you have something coming back to Atlanta, so that I'm not deadheading back. I do that all the time for everyone. Now they call me when they have stuff. So I'll give you an example. I was in Atlanta. They had a $20 run in Chattanooga going from the airport to a hospital. I don't do $20 runs. So I ignored it. Now I don't decline when I get something on airspace. I just don't do anything. I just swipe it up and I just let it sit. I don't decline anything. And I keep it on 24/7. The broker called me and said, hey, I see that you're in the proximity of the pickup, because I was in Dalton. This was a pickup that was in Chattanooga. I see you're in proximity of the pickup. Can you go get it? I'm like, no, not for $20. So she gave me a $50 incentive. Well, not for $70. Absolutely, I can go. So I went. It was 4 miles, literally from the airport to the drop. It was an organ of some kind. So they're good. I have no complaints about them at all. And like I said, they'll start calling you. So that's a good company to work for. Do you have a list of gig apps about? Yeah, I do. So I have a site. It's in my bio. Right now I have a free ebook on there for how to start a medical courier business. It's a free ebook. I'm gonna put, because I have the courier list, I think it's embedded into my either box truck ebook or one of the other ebooks, but I was giving it away when I first made it. So I'll take it out of that and I'll make it free. I'll do it this evening. And then you can go on there. Kayak, we're talking about airspace right now. You can go on there and you can download I think it's like 2 pages of apps or whatever. But keep in mind, the apps that are good for the area where you are vary. So, like, again, I'm in New Orleans right now. Ain't nothing going on in New Orleans right now. Like, everything is, like, dead. In Atlanta, it's always popping. Like, there's always something. So you can work on a Saturday if you want to. So it really varies by state. So when people say, what apps are good apps, it just depends on where you are. So one app could be good in one area and not be good in another, or vice versa. So you literally, I tell people, download these apps, get approved, so that you can see what's in your area. Because other than that, you're not gonna know. So I could tell you, yeah, it's all good in Atlanta, but for the person in New Orleans, it's just not. Like on Roadie for New Orleans, they may have 10 things on there in the morning, and then throughout the day they might have 2 or 3. Then that's it. Whereas in Atlanta, there's probably 400. So it just depends. I have a box truck looking for local runs in Philadelphia and Delaware. If you have a box truck, I probably would look at, let me know if you have your authority or not, because if you have your authority, it makes a difference. If you have a box truck, I would look at Dolly. Dolly, you can get a lot of work, especially if you're a man. I mean, I'm a female. I'm not trying to lift no refrigerators, but if you're a dude, Dolly. And they will also send a helper out. Oh, you do? Good. Okay. I'm going to give you some stuff. All right. If you're looking for gig work, because again, there's a difference between gig work and carrier work. Gig work is good for fill-ins, but you need to get some contracts because you have a box truck. So you need contracts. Contracts, you can go on couriergigs.com. Let me type it. I'm going to type this in here for y'all. So couriergigs.com, if you're looking for medical courier, or I don't have my glasses on, so y'all forgive me, or regular courier work. All right, so courier gigs, cbdriver.com, and Indeed. Indeed.com. You can go on there, you can find contracts, especially if you have a box truck, you can go on there and find contracts. You need contracts. RXO is another one. Because I was just talking to my friend today about RXO. RXO does final mile. And if you're trying to stay local, doing local work, you can find local contracts on any of those sites. And that'll keep you home. Because a lot of people don't want to be on the road. That'll keep you home doing the local stuff. As far as gig work, UShip, Roadie has some stuff, not a lot. Hey, go getters. Roadie has some stuff. Curry is the other one, good for box trucks. But when you sign up on Curry, you need to sign up as a carrier. Do not go on there and sign up as a gig. There's a difference. So make sure that you sign up under the right thing, because you have an authority. So that authority, you're able to, get more money. I'm trying to think what else. But if you got a box truck, you need to be getting some contracts. You don't need to be doing gig work. You can do the gig work in between, but that doesn't need to be your focus at all. For the person that's in New Orleans, this is a hard market, because even freight is another one. Freight is F-R-A-Y-T. Freight has a lot of work, especially in Atlanta. New Orleans is back to New Orleans. New Orleans is a hard market. There's just not a lot down here. There's just not the Roadie. There's quite a bit in the morning on Roadie, but like I said, it's like 20. And if you don't get them, then you're kind of assed out. It's not a lot that you can do. But if you're in New Orleans, I would go on those apps and see what you can find, because there's like some pharmaceutical contracts you can get like through MedZoomer or something like that. So go on Indeed is what I would recommend, and do that. Okay, let's see. I tried to use the hotel app. It seems not like a. What are we talking about? You talking about day use, the one that I recommend to y'all for go-getters? Which hotel app are you talking about? Because if I recommended it to you, I've used it. So it's not. No, I've used it. It's dayuse.com. I use it all the time. Mama, give me a napkin, please. Never mind. My cup is leaking. I don't know what's wrong with my cup. All my water is fell out my cup. Mama, can you give me a napkin? Crap. The other hotel, because I was gonna do a hold on, y'all. I don't know why my cup leaking. The other app for hotels is Engine. I use Engine a lot when I'm traveling too. Can you give me a napkin? All my stuff is coming out of my cup. I don't know why. I've used them all. They're all wet. Thank you. I gotta figure out what's wrong with my straw, because I don't know what's going on with the cup. Okay, what other questions do you... I'm trying to make sure I haven't skipped anyone's questions. So I started this particular business in 2023. It was kind of a fluke. Started basically trying to help my nephew and my brother. Ended up with the business. I got in the box truck, and if you go look at my old videos, I drove that truck from the beginning for a year, and I learned everything. Like, I'm the type of person that I like to learn stuff on my own. Like, I'm not ever going to get on the internet and ask a bunch of crazy questions that I want to do it so that I know. So I drove the box truck for a year over the road. I didn't do anything local until probably September, October. I did some stuff for Roadrunner, and then I didn't like that. I did Roadrunner for about a week, because with Roadrunner, you are off and on that truck. And that, for the guy with the box truck in Philadelphia, Roadrunner is another one. Roadrunner has a lot of freight, but Roadrunner is going to work you to death. Like, when you go to the dock, you pick up, they give you your freight or whatever, and then you run those routes, and then they give you routes to bring back. But you're using that lift gate every stop. Like, it's too much work. Like, I just didn't want to do it. And the money wasn't... I preferred to be over the road, because I prefer no-touch freight. So, yeah, I've had my authority since 2023. So the business that I'm putting together now, because I have other businesses. So I'm very short background. I work for Nationwide. I've been self-employed since 2017. I had a manufacturing business. I'm also a licensed agent, and then I have the trucking business. So right now, we're restructuring the trucking business. So my brother is going to be doing Final Mile, and then I'm going to be doing cryogenics, because we're going to be an IAC. So we'll be providing TSA certification for our drivers and stuff like that. So I'm building out an ecosystem right now, in addition to the website where we're providing, I have a business resource library where I have a blog where I send out information like every other day on business stuff, how to grow your business, how to scale your business, different resources, how to get minority certified, how to get government certified, like all this stuff. I'm building out this entire ecosystem. So that's why I'm kind of taking my time with it. So I got out of the truck the end of 2023 when the rates started going down. I got out of the truck and then basically started building out this training platform that I'm working on right now. I'm almost finished. I provide a list of grants every month. I give you like 75 grants every month. I have classes on how to write a grant because I like to teach. So it was never my intention to drive the truck. Like, I don't want to drive the truck. I don't need to drive the truck. I want to teach people how to grow their business. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Long story short. Okay, let me go back because I missed some questions. Okay. Okay, why Roadie never accept any work? I always try to accept offers, but they always because you got to keep trying. And you got to do more than one at a time. You got to do like 5 or 6. Just keep hitting the buttons for all the ones that you want. And sooner or later, they're going to start accepting you. But you can't do one and give up. You got to keep trying and you got to keep hitting the button and you have to do more than one. Like, you literally have to do like 5 at a time. And, find the ones that you want to do. You're going to do a whole bunch of ones that you don't like in the beginning. But once you get into the algorithm, they'll start giving you good ones. And I would probably start with Home Depot because Home Depot is good to stack. And with the Home Depot ones, when you're looking at stacking, you want to bid on the most expensive ones first, not the cheapest one. Get the highest one first. Once you get that one, then whatever else they have that's there, hit them all. So if it's 10 that they have at that one store, hit all 10. And then they will give you all of them. And then that way when you go to Home Depot, you're picking up like 6 orders instead of picking up one. Because see, that's the thing. People, you try to get one thing. That's not the goal. The goal is to get 5 or 6. And especially with the luggage. Once you do a couple of roadies, and when I say a couple, I mean like 10. You're going to have to do like 10 to 15 roadies before they start giving you good roadies. When you do the crappy roadies, and when I say crappy, I'm talking about the little 5-mile thing for $10 or whatever. You got to do some crappy ones so that you can get in the system. Once you do the crappy ones, now you can do the Home Depots and like the luggage. So like the luggage, you can go to the airport, whatever they have. Like when I was doing luggage, I was picking up, because again, I'm in Atlanta. So if I'm doing a route from Atlanta to, I don't know, Alpharetta or Cumming, I'm picking up every piece of luggage that's going that way. So when I go in there to look, everyone that's going along that route, as long as it's going in the same direction, I make an offer for all of them. So when I go to the airport, I'm picking up like 6, 7 bags. I'm not picking up one bag. I'm picking up 6 or 7 bags. I go do that route, then I come back to the airport, and whatever they have left, I pick them. I make an offer for all of them. So the goal is to stack, not to just make one offer, because you're never gonna make any money doing it that way. All right, let me see. I've been using Roadie for over a week. I canceled one order, and now I'm not able to get no orders. Yeah, don't do that. Don't cancel no orders. If you can't do it, don't make an offer for it, because they will do that. At some point, you'll get back into the algorithm, but try not to cancel. If you have to cancel, put it this way. I've been at Home Depot, and because I've made the mistake sometimes, I have a Tahoe. I've gone to Home Depot thinking that something was going to fit in my truck, because based off of the dimensions that they give you, which is always wrong, you get there and then it doesn't fit, right? I'll put something in there like the order is not ready, because that's on them, that's not on me. Roadie is not going to call them to confirm that the order is ready or not, so that's not your fault. So if you have to cancel, make it their fault. Don't make it your fault. That's the key to that. All right. So you're still running box trucks, but yes and no. So we're going to be doing, I think I'm going to pivot more toward Sprinter vans. Like I said, my brother's going to run a flatbed with a Moffitt out of Charlotte, and he can also do dry vans and heavy duty freight and all that. So the part of the business that I'm helping him to build out will be totally separate from what I'm doing. I don't think right now, with the economy being the way it is and the rates being the way that they are, I think it would be more cost effective and be able to generate more revenue using sprinters and using the box trucks. That's just my opinion for the time being. And then, you know, if things change, then I'll go back to box trucks. But right now, I think I'm going to focus on sprinters. How do I get started in a box truck? Well, that's a loaded question. So I'll tell you what I did. I rented box truck for a year. And a lot of people will say, don't rent. I'm not buying a big piece of equipment not knowing if it's going to work out. So I rented. I had a great rate through Enterprise. I negotiated the rate. I can't remember off the top of my head because I've done videos about it, but I honestly can't remember because that was, you know, 2 years ago. But I negotiated the rate. I got the rate down to something that was manageable for me. And then I made sure that I made that. Now, the way I ran the truck is I ran partials. I didn't do full loads. I only did partials because partials, you make more money. So I only ran partials. So when I did my route from Atlanta to New Jersey, partials. So if I can put 6 partials on there, 7, 8 partials, then that's what I did. And I also did Amazon Relay on the weekend because I had a manufacturing business, so I had to be back on Thursday. So Thursday through Sunday, I did Amazon Relay. Monday through Thursday morning or whatever, I did OTR. So that's basically what I did. I don't recommend anyone go out and buy a piece of equipment, especially if you don't know the business, you don't understand the stock market, you don't have a contract, you don't understand lanes, you don't understand commodities, you don't understand load securement, you don't understand anything. So don't go buying something and you don't understand the market. Understand the market first and then build your business. But don't go investing in equipment and you don't know how you're going to pay the note on the equipment, and now the equipment is sitting in the yard. You don't want that. So I know renting is not a course that most people will say to take, but I rented. And when I decided to get out of that truck, I gave it back and I was done with it. As a matter of fact, the second month that I had the truck, I ran into a tree down the street from my mama's house and she's laughing. And I literally took that truck back to Enterprise and they gave me a new truck. I've never had an accident. And I had a company car with Nationwide for 15 years. I've never had an accident. And the second week that I was in that truck, I hit a tree. If that was my truck, it took them 4 months to get it repaired. I'd have to pay that truck note and I have no way of making the money. That's why I say don't buy a truck. Just rent a truck. And understand that when you rent that truck, you need to hustle and you need to make more money. It's not about, I'm renting the truck. Just make more money. Figure it out. Make more money. Get on Indeed. Get on Craigslist. Do what you have to do to make more money. And when you make more money, then you can pay that note. But don't go out there buying a truck. Okay, let's see. How do you get on with Home Depot? So there's different ways you can do that. You can do that through gig apps that have contracts with Home Depot. You can do that through Final Mile, like RXO, like Curry, One Rail, Warp. All those people move freight for Home Depot. All of that's Final Mile. You going to Home Depot is not going to cut it because you don't have enough trucks to move Home Depot's freight. So don't think that you're going to go to the Home Depot warehouse and tell them that you want to move their freight. It doesn't work like that. There are platforms that you can go through where you can make decent money on their platforms moving their freight. Because one of the things, the misconceptions that I think people have is that, okay, I have this truck, I want to get a contract, and you reach out to these people not even understanding how much freight they're moving, but you can't accommodate the level and the amount of freight that they're moving. So why are you going? Like, they've got 100, 200 loads a day going out, and you have one truck. What you gonna do? It will never work. So unless you have a fleet of trucks and you can provide value to someone, or you're working with a small business or a small company or someone that has 1 or 2 loads a day or whatever you can start with, that's great. But like a Home Depot, no. Partner with somebody else that already has the contract and you can make your money. Okay, let me see what else. Explain how can I do this? Okay, I need you to tell me what you're talking about because I've been running my mouth, so I haven't been keeping up with the thing. So what are we talking about? Hi, I'm just joining, so sorry. Can you please explain again? What am I explaining again? Just put it back in the chat and I'll catch it when I get to the bottom. Yesterday I was on there from 8 a.m. to 3 and they haven't accepted any of my offers for 2 days. Yeah, you just got to keep trying. And a lot of this stuff, y'all, you can't get discouraged. You got to just keep trying because you getting discouraged and, throwing your hands up doesn't fix the problem that you still need to work. So keep trying. Just keep trying. And just like I said, do multiple, do 5 or 6 at a time. Don't do one at a time. Try to do 5 or 6. At some point, they're going to give you one. And when they give you one, you just keep going and keep going. Because like I said, right now, I don't really do Roadie that much. But if I go on here and I hit for something, chances are I'm going to get it. Because I'm already in the algorithm. I've already shown myself, when you pick up, and this is a key thing. With Roadie, when you accept an offer, go get the stuff and go deliver the stuff. Don't be going to the grocery store and going to pick up your kid from school and running errands with the people's stuff in your car. Go deliver the people's stuff, because all that stuff is tracked. They look at how long with the time between you picked it up and dropped it off. Don't do that. If you're going to pick it up and go drop it off. And I've had my first experience with Roadie was as a business owner in 2017. I had something that I had the girl go pick up. Well, it's not a girl. She was a young lady. Pick up some oil for me that I needed to have that morning. The place wasn't far away from where my warehouse was, but I didn't have time to go get it. At 9 o'clock, this girl showed up at 7 o'clock because she had to go get her groceries and a kid. And when I tell you I could have thrown that thing at her face, but I did not, because we don't want to be violent. But the point is, you had my stuff in your car all day. Like, you can't do that. So that's a big no-no. So don't do that. Let's see. I've been on the wait list for Roadie. Yeah, you just gotta wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I got disconnected. Okay. Everybody's on these gig apps now, so there are some waiting lists. So you just gotta wait. What about final mile companies? Yeah, so final mile companies, like I said, depending upon, do you have your authority? If you have your authority, one rail, warp, RXO. If you don't have your authority, Curry, dispatch. It just depends on if you have your authority. Let's see. Do you know about the cargo van space market? Are you already familiar with cargo van? What's your question? You're right. I've been thinking about rental van. Then the price keeps discouraging me. Okay, so I'm gonna give y'all some game. Don't tell nobody. Okay. Cargo vans. Roadie offers a discount on the Roadie app for cargo van from Hertz with unlimited mileage. $140 a week. Okay? Let's see what else we got. Don't depend on the apps, get contracts. Yep, that's what I said. Explain the airport route again. Okay, so with the airport route, you basically are looking at the airport to see what, because they're not going to give you luggage going, over here and over here. Like you really, it's got to go in one direction. But you want to make an offer for all of them, because you don't ever want to go pick up one bag. If you're going to go pick up luggage, you need to be picking up 5 or 6 every time you go. If you're doing one, don't bother, because unless it's like a long run or something, but you need to do a lot. So whenever you see them on there, just hit offer for all the ones that's on there, and by the time you get to the airport, you'll have them. I'm interested in starting my medical courier or OTR business. Yeah, I've got a free ebook on the website. Just click the link in my bio, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Or if you have any specific questions about it, just put it in the chat, and I'll get to it. Do you know the cargo van market? Yeah, pretty much. What's your specific question? Because, it's basically all the same. It's just a matter of, with a cargo van, the biggest thing with a cargo van, you need to know how much weight you can put in that truck, because you don't want to bend the axle. You need to know how much, the dimensions of the truck, how much weight you can put in the truck. Now, the difference is with a cargo van, when you're running OTR, you don't have to stop at the weigh station. However, if you have an authority, because most people will say, hi, Damien. If you have an authority and you're running a cargo van and you're OTR and you're required to have inspections on your safer, then my advice to you would be to put your DOT numbers on the side of that cargo van and pull into the weigh station, because you need to get an inspection. Because a lot of people will say, well, I'm in a cargo van, I'm not required to go through the weigh station. And you're not required. But if you have an authority, you have to have inspections, because if you don't have inspections, then the brokers are not going to broker you freight. So it's kind of a catch-22. So it's kind of up to you. I mean, I would prefer to go through there and, at least get the driver inspection. I mean, they're not going to inspect the truck. They're going to give you a driver inspection. And that's just a matter of you having your driver qualification file. Now, in your driver qualification file, if you have a box truck, let's talk about the box trucks. If you have a box truck, you are required to stop at the weigh station. You cannot blow past the weigh station. You're in a commercial vehicle carrying commercial freight that you are being paid to transport, so you have to stop. You're required to have a driver qualification file in the truck. Driver qualification file is a binder. So I don't have one, but it's a binder. So go to Staples, get a binder that has the little clear pages in it. You want to put the registration for the truck. You want to put the certificate of insurance for the truck. You want to put the inspection for the truck. Your resume is supposed to be in there. Your medical DOT card is supposed to be in there. And I would leave the first little sleeve empty, so that if you get pulled over, so when you go through the weigh station, there's a red light, there's a green light, and a red light. If you get the green light, then you just go straight through. If you get the red light with the arrow, then you have to pull over and get an inspection. If you get pulled over, get your driver's license, drop it down in the middle, and whatever your BOL or your whatever paperwork you have, your Raycon or whatever, goes in the front. Give them the whole thing. They'll take it to their car. They'll do the inspection. You won't have any problems. But you have to have that file in your truck. You're required to have it. So if you have questions about the driver qualification file, let me know. But it needs to be in every truck. Do you know how to get TSA certified? Yes. So we're in the process of doing paperwork for, it's called an independent air carrier. You get TSA certified through an independent air carrier to move their freight. That's not something that you can apply for on the TSA website. You have to get that from the IAC. And we're going through that process right now to get approved by TSA to be an IAC, because I'll be moving aircraft. It's called AOG freight, aircraft on ground freight. So you have to work with someone that is an IAC. So if you're interested in getting TSA certified, you're going to have to find somebody that's an IAC, and then have them sponsor you, because you have to be sponsored by that person, because that person is responsible for your training. So that's pretty much it. Okay, let me see, did I miss any questions? Do you help get contract for medical courier? I mean, the whole thing with getting contracts for medical courier, so like I said, I have the free ebook on my website, and it gives you all that information. You have to you really, really need to do some research. Like, I gave y'all 3 websites, CB Driver, Courier Gigs, and Indeed. There are contracts on there, but you have to apply for these contracts. You have to follow up with these people. You have to basically stalk these people, because you can't just send them an application and then like, okay, I'm done. You really need to do some work. You got to do some research. You have to make some phone calls. You need to, get government certified. You need to put your business in your state, city procurement websites. They have RFPs for contract work. Like, there's contract work everywhere, but you have to really be diligent in trying to find it. And then once you find it, you have to follow up. And you can't just take one no as, you got to keep asking. And it's going to take 5 or 6, 10, 12 reaches to these people to close the deal. So it takes a while, but the resources are there. I mean, it's not something that I can tell you, oh yeah, well, just, do this or whatever. I mean, I can give you the websites to go to, but you got to do the work. That's the hard part. Like, you got to, have business cards. Do you have a website? Do you have social media presence? Do you have a LinkedIn? Are you presenting? Is your business set up properly? Like, all that stuff matters. So, like I said, I've got the free ebook. Get the free ebook. If you have some other questions, just let me know what those questions are. So if you have your own authority versus not having your own authority, pro and cons for Sprinter. I think having your own authority just puts you in a different category, because everybody and their grandma doing gigs. Like, gig work is gig work. If you have your own authority, that's a business. You're a motor carrier. So you're able to demand different rates. You're able to move different freight. That's a whole different thing. Gig work is just, gig work is gig work. Like you can make money on gig work, but it's not a business. You're just doing, it's a side hustle at the end of the day. As a motor carrier, that is a business. So you're able to do much bigger things. You're able to, build broker relationships. When I first started, I used the load boards for probably the first month. I used DAT. I had a lot of success on DAT. And a lot of people say that they can't find work on DAT for Sprinter vans, but your filters are wrong, because there's work on there for Sprinter vans, because I used to see it. You want filters for Sprinter vans. You want the filter for the Sprinter van, but you also want the filter for box trucks, which is straight trucks. You want the filter for dry vans, because in the notes it'll tell you what the commodity is that is moving. Sometimes it's just a pallet, but they'll put dry van. Hot shots, because the Sprinter van can move stuff that a hot shot can move. Just make sure that your filters are right. But I did it for like a month off the load boards, and then after that, the brokers were calling me. So I didn't have my subscription to the load board. I think I had it for maybe 2 months, but I only used it for a month, because after that, I was getting phone calls from the brokers on a regular basis to move freight. And that's what you want. And that's the difference between being a motor carrier and being a gig worker. Because again, you're building a business. And this is something that you can, have additional people working, and we'll talk about it, people working under your authority. You can have additional people working under your authority. You can grow that. You can't grow gig work. Now, let's talk about having people running under your authority. Be very mindful, because a lot of people they get their authority and they want Tom, Dick, and Harry to run under their authority. If they blow through a weigh station, if they fail an inspection, if they have marijuana on the truck, if they have beer on the truck, open or not, all of that goes on your CSA report, and you can be put out of service for what somebody else does. So you need to covet that authority, be very, very careful with it, because if somebody else is driving the truck under your authority does something that they should not be doing, it's your fault. And there's nothing you can do about it. Once it's on there, it's on there. It's on your safer report for everybody to see. So be mindful of letting people drive under your authority. Okay, what's the difference between TWIC card and TSA certified? It's a type of freight that you're picking up. So the TWIC card is basically for basic stuff that you're picking up from the airport, like in public areas, let's just say. TSA certified is in cargo secured areas. So it's two different areas of the airport. It's not the same. Let's see. My fault, Auntie, it says gig work and roadie. What you mean? Explain that to me. I'm tired. I'm not registering. Okay, what's DAT app? DAT is a load board. DAT is one of the larger load boards. Now, I've used all the load boards. I've used 1, 2, 3 load board. I've used Truck Stop. I've used all of the load boards. I personally had the most success on DAT. So let's talk about booking loads. So when let's say you're booking a load, what I did was, if it was an email that the broker wanted, I had an email that I already crafted that had my name, the type of vehicle I had, my DOT number, my MC number, the driver's name, the driver's cell, and where the truck was empty. Where was it located empty? Send that to them, let them know that I'm interested in the load, because you don't want to have to go back and forth with the broker. When you email the broker, you want to give them all of the information so that they can go ahead and book the load. That's the biggest piece. When you call the broker, right now the authorities are different. So when I started, I was working the first week, but we've had so much fraud going on that now they want you to have a year on your authority. It's just hard. But when you get that broker on the phone, especially if you have a new authority, it doesn't matter that you have a new authority. They can see that in the system. So you don't need to be leading with, I have a new authority. You need to be leading with, hey, I really want to get this this load from you. I'm building my business. I'm dependable. I will get your load there on time. And you need to sell yourself, and you need to be very direct and quick, because the person next to them is also booking the same load. So you want to be fast. You want to be, you want to be sincere, but you want to be direct. It's like, okay, well, I understand that my authority is new, but I really, really want to work with you, and I will get the load there on time. I will get it there safely. My truck is clean. Whatever you got to do to sell yourself, that's what you want to do. You want to sell yourself. What do you think about selectors? I don't. This is the thing about selectors, especially with new people in the business. Selectors is a contract. So not only are they putting you in a 12-month contract paying $300 a month, you don't have any revenue. So how are you going to pay that? And there's no guarantee that you're going to get loads off of it either. So for me to have a business that I'm trying to grow, not knowing if I'm going to get loads, and I'm in a contract to pay you $500 a month, I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. I will utilize all the other load boards first before I pay selectively, because I feel like they prey on people, because it's like they tell people, it's like, okay, well, yeah, we got these expedited freight loads, and we specialize in box trucks and sprinter vans and whatnot, but you're in a contract and you're just starting and you don't have any revenue. And then as soon as you make some money, you got to pay them the contract. So, yeah, no, I ain't doing it. Is it true they're getting rid of authority in October? Yeah, so what they're doing is they're combining the numbers. So instead of having two numbers, because a lot of these fraudulent people are running two different businesses. So when you get your authority, you have a DOT number and you have an authority, but it's the same business. I think what the fraud people are doing is running two businesses with those numbers. And so what the FMCSA is doing is they're consolidating the numbers, but I don't think the fee is going anywhere. They're still going to charge you. You're still going to have to pay for it, but you're only going to have one number. You're not going to have two numbers, because right now you have a DOT number and you have an MC number. It's only going to be one number, but they're still going to charge. I'm having luck hauling bicycles and ATVs. Okay, so let's talk about that. So yesterday, I was on the phone with my brother. Well, not on the phone with my brother. We were talking via DM or whatever. And there's a whole opportunity out there to move RVs. I didn't know that. So if you have a dually fifth wheel, there's a whole thing out there where you can move people's RVs across the country, and it pays very well. So I'm sure you're doing pretty good, because I know car haulers do well. I don't know about motorcycles. I've never seen like motorcycles, but you should look at the RVs, because I watched the whole video of this guy and I ended up going down a rabbit hole with RVs, and I didn't know that was a thing. So look into that too. That's definitely preying on people. I'm here for profit. Exactly. Right. And DAT is $35 a month. So I'll pay $35 all day long before I pay you $300 or $400. And I'm just trying to figure out what I'm doing. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And, my thing is, so on my platform, I'm doing a live tomorrow about my platform and the services that we offer. So one of the services that we offer is loans. So we do equipment loans, SBA loans, lines of credit. We do all that for small business. But I always tell people, like, you don't need to be trying to get a loan for a business that you've just started, that you have no revenue. How you gonna pay it? So unless you have some way of repaying this loan, getting a loan to start a business that is not generating any revenue doesn't make sense. Because if someone came to you and said, hey, can I borrow $50,000? And you know that this person they don't have a job, would you give them the money? Like, you just got to think common sense. Like, no, I don't think I would. So tomorrow we're going to talk about making sure your business is structured properly, other ways that you can find funding. But if you want funding and you qualify for funding, we have funding, and it's relaxed underwriting, so it's not as stringent as the bank. I think I don't know what time it is. It's on my page. I don't know what time it's for. Hold on, let me look. I just saw your note. The live is tomorrow at 6. So that's 6 Central Time, I hope. Well, I'll be on at 6 Central Time, because I don't know, because when I did that, I was in Eastern Time, so I don't know if it changed, but I'll be on at 6 Central Time. But just making sure that your business is structured properly, because if it's structured properly and you want a loan, that's fine, but just be mindful of creating debt when you don't have the money to pay the debt. Because what I tell people all the time, because I coach for my manufacturing business, don't put yourself in debt and you don't have a way to pay the debt. Like, if your business is making money and it's profitable and you're able to reinvest that money into your business, that's fine. But if your business is not making any money, where is this money supposed to come from? And if you have a job, that's not that you shouldn't be paying business stuff with your job. The business should be self-sufficient. So if the business can't afford it, then you shouldn't be doing it. It shouldn't be a situation where you're taking money from your job to pay business stuff. The business needs to be generating the revenue. Understanding that when you first start, you have to invest money into the business to get it started, but that doesn't need to be the norm long term. After about the first 6 months, the business needs to be paying for the business expenses. So keep that in mind. PM. Girl, I'm not up at 6 o'clock in the morning doing anything, ever. I don't get up till 9. Okay, so let me see what I missed. I use it. Do you recommend the DAT load board for Sprinter vans? Do you have any other? I mean, I look at all of them. They all work. I know 123 load board is pretty good for sprinters. But like I said, I just favor DAT, and I don't have a relationship with those people. I just like the load board. And like I said, when you do your filters, you want to do straight truck, van, hot shot, sprinter van. And then in the note, you got to read the notes for all of them, because it'll say sprinter van acceptable. Or if you read the notes and you see that it's one pallet, well, you know you can fit it on a sprinter van, especially if the weight is within the weight that your cargo capacity is for your sprinter van. So it works. You need transporter plates for that. Are we talking about the RVs? Because I'm thinking yes. Say again, $35 a month for the DAT load board. I think it's $35. The last time I checked, it was $35. Put it that way. You know what time you're going live tomorrow? Yeah, it's 6 o'clock. I'll be on at 6 o'clock Central, because like I said, I don't know if the time is gonna convert over, because I don't know. I want to say I don't know, but I'll be on 6 Central. PM. Just getting started. Is it wise to rent a box truck through U-Haul or Ryder Penske? Okay, U-Haul is not the truck that you need, because U-Haul is not a dock height box truck. That's for moving furniture. You're not moving furniture, you're moving freight, and you need a lift gate. So if you're gonna rent, you need to rent. Ryder and Penske, I believe, unless they changed it, you have to be in business for 2 years. Budget and enterprise, you don't. So I would check that. But you need a commercial box truck that is dock height with a lift gate, not U-Haul. And you're not using the insurance from the place, because that's not the insurance that you need. When you have your authority, when you get your authority, the insurance is on the LLC. So it doesn't matter what vehicle. So I'll tell you, so let's back up. When you get your authority, let's say you're renting a truck. You get your authority, just get a VIN from anywhere. Pretend you're buying a car. You just get a VIN, find a box truck VIN, and you want to get a quote on that VIN. You can get the policy on that VIN. Then when you go to pick up the truck, you're going to call the insurance company from the place before you leave with the truck and change the VIN. That's how that works. It's very simple. But the insurance that they offer at the place is not the insurance that you need for the truck. You need the insurance that's required by the FMCSA that you have on your LLC for your authority, because that's 2 different insurances. Okay, let's see what's next. Is that for people with MC? You gotta explain, because I forgot what we were talking about. Kimberly. I need your help. I want to grow my business, but I know that I have to get my authority first, though. Yeah, I mean, it just depends. I mean, because like I said, there's enough gig work out there to keep you busy. It just depends on what your end game is. If your end game is to actually grow a business, then you need to get your authority. But if your end game is just to, do gig work, then that's fine. I mean, just do gig work. But it just depends on what your goals are and what you're trying to do. DAT price, I think it's $35. But just check the website. The last time I checked, it was $35. I don't think it went up. And make sure you carry the lease agreement on the rental. Yes, that's supposed to be in your driver qualification file. Exactly. Make sure you carry the lease agreement because they're going to ask you for it. I don't have an MC. Okay, then you'll be doing gig work, because those are your choices. You can either do it as a gig or get your authority. So those are kind of the 2 areas. But if you don't have your authority, you can't book a load on a load board. You're going to have to use the gigs. Definitely building a business. Exactly. Your business coaching for $50 a month no, everything I do is one-on-one. I don't do groups. I don't believe in groups. I mean, I'll do group stuff like this, and I don't like this because we can't talk. I tried scheduling Zooms. I don't like it. Like I'm a one-on-one kind of coach because I want to understand who you are and what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve, and then we can structure what you need around your goals. So that's not the same for everybody. Because some people are trying to leave a legacy for their children. Some people are just trying to make it today. Some people are trying to, build out a family business. Like everything is different. So I don't do group. I just think people get lost in groups, So it's always going to be one-on-one. I'm interested in picking up from the airport. 9-twig. Yeah, I mean you can do luggage on Roadie from the airport, or if you're on a gig app. They have stuff picking up, like Airspace has stuff picking up from the airport. So it just depends. You're in California? No, right now I'm in New Orleans, but I live in Atlanta. Steps to getting authority. Do you offer this? So I am going to, I'm doing a video that I'm going to put in the resource library on how to apply for your authority. I do not mentor or coach on that because the last time I did that, the person went in and changed the answers and then the thing was all wrong, so I don't do it. So either you're going to do it or you're going to pay me to do it. But I'm not coaching anybody to do it because the last time I did it, it didn't, people change answers. And that now you're asking me why this happened when that's not what I told you to do. So yeah, I can do it for you. Or I'm going to make a video and put it in the resource library and you can follow the video. So, kind of whichever you prefer, whatever works for you. It's a lot. I mean, it's not, I've done it so many times until, I can do it literally very quickly, but it's a lot. And if you don't understand what you're reading and you don't answer the questions right, it's going to trigger the wrong thing on the back end. Legacy building, that's what we're trying to do. I have my authority, but no truck. I'm looking to rent, but I don't want to rent until I get loads. Yeah, so if you have your authority too and you don't have a truck, I will put that, you can put the authority on your personal vehicle. So the insurance for the authority is less if you put it on your personal vehicle, if you're like in limbo and you're waiting. And I really didn't notice until like after the fact, but for a Sprinter van, the insurance is for the FMCSA, not to move a load, but for the FMCSA, for you to be legal to keep your authority active, is $300,000. You can put that on your car until you're ready to get a truck. And then when you're ready to get a truck, then you can increase the insurance. But that will keep your authority active and you can age it. But, you can either try to get contracts first and then get your truck, or be at the mercy of the load board. Now, on the load board, you're dealing with the spot market, and the spot market is very low right now, so the rates are not the best. And people really don't understand how to run their business. They don't understand cost per mile. They don't understand rate per mile, and they're driving the spot market down. So as a result of that, it's more difficult to get stuff off the load board. But it's not impossible. But it just depends on the age of your authority. If your authority is new, yeah, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have to wait until it's at least 6 months at this point, because people, like I said, when I started, it wasn't like that. It was like 30 days for everybody, except, so I'll give you an example of how good it was in 2023. I had Landstar, Epps, Fetch Freight, Flock. I think I had like 10, like the first week that were approved. And then the other ones were like 30-day, it's a 30-day wait, but not like nearly what it is right now. Like now it's like 6 months to a year. So yeah, just be mindful. Make sure you make the right decision for your family. How much is your one-on-one to mentor? There's different ones. So there's like a 30-minute one-on-one. I think it's $49. Or I think there's a subscription. And I don't know, because I have several businesses and they all have different things. So forgive me. The link is on my page. And there's a whole thing of There's a master class for box trucks. There's a master class for courier vans. There's ebooks. There's one-on-one. Like if you just need a consultation, you just need to talk to me or whatever. There's that. Like there's all the stuff. Just hit the link on the thing because I honestly don't know. Tank says he's in New Orleans. Well, I didn't know that. I'm at your mama's house, hiding out from the world. But I'll see you. I think Mama said you leave in a couple of days, so I'll see you before you leave, baby. And I love you. Can you go straight through the airport instead of Roadie? I'm sure you can, but again, that goes back to capacity. So if you have one Sprinter van and you reach out to Delta to move their luggage, how are you going to accommodate the amount of luggage that they have? You follow me? So you either need to have enough equipment, and when I say equipment, I'm referring to trucks, to move their stuff and present them with a contract that's more appealing to them than what they're paying Roadie or these other people that's moving stuff for them, or it doesn't make sense because it has to make sense for them. So yeah, I'm sure you can, but you just got to make sure that you can accommodate what they have. Is it profitable to rent a box truck in California to work? I don't know what the rates are in California. I mean, it's always going to be less profitable to rent. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not profitable. I don't want to say it's not profitable to rent. It's less profitable to rent because you have to pay the rental and you're paying for the mileage. But my point is, if you're just starting out, don't go out there buying equipment that you don't know if you're going to be able to sustain. I would say at least rent for a couple of months just to make sure that you're going to make the money that you think you're going to make. Because if you look on social media, it looks like people making thousands of dollars a day and all whatnot or whatever. You can't believe everything you see because I know what the rates are. And so if you go out and buy a truck, let's just say you go out and take your last earnings and you go buy a truck and you don't get that truck moving for a month. And now a month has passed and now you have a truck note. What are you going to do? Whereas if you rent the truck and it doesn't work out, you just bring it back. So, if you rent the truck for a couple of months, get acclimated to the industry, figure out what's going on, figure out if this is even for you, figure out if this is even what you want to do before you buy, I think just makes more sense. Yes, it's going to cost more. Yes, it's less profitable, but you don't have a big ass truck sitting in the driveway that you can't make the note for because you don't know how to book a load. So it's totally up to you. I'm just saying what I would do and what I did. I'm not buying no truck when I don't know how I'm going to pay the note and the insurance. So you're looking at the note, you're looking at the insurance, and you're looking at maintenance because every time that truck breaks, trust me, it's $5,000 for simple stuff every time it breaks. So now you have to have money in the bank every time that truck breaks. So I think that's too much to take on for somebody that's just starting. It just doesn't make sense. How do I reach out to you? The link is in my bio. Go on my page, under my face, there's a link. All my information is on there. Drove semi-truck over 8 years, making a shift to car. Yeah, my brother drives right now, he drove a semi. He's driving a flatbed right now. He's making that transition. So yeah, welcome. Okay, so I have my van. I have $1 million code. Can I put the 300 on my minivan? Just age? Yes, you can. Yes, because for a Sprinter van, you're only required to have the 300,000 for the FMCSA. You don't need the cargo insurance if you're not moving any cargo. And so again, when you go through the process to get your DOT number, let's just say if you have a cargo van, it tells you at the end for the cargo van it's only 300,000. So that's an easy way to keep your authority and let it age. It makes sense because sometimes you got to step away. Like I stepped away. Like I said, I drove the truck for a year. The race started getting funky. I stepped away because I'm like, I don't have money to sink. I'm not gonna keep going into, and that's the thing you have to learn as an entrepreneur. When things start looking crazy, it's okay to step away. And I have other businesses. So I'm not going to keep going and fall into a hole and get in the hole, stay in the hole, get covered by dirt before I realize that I never should have been in the hole. Like you have to know when to pivot. And if pivoting means stepping away from it for a second to regroup, then that's fine. You don't owe anybody an explanation for that. You do whatever you have to do to make it work for you. I love you too, C. Okay, baby, I'll see you soon. Can you go straight through the airport? Oh, we answered that already. Okay. But see, I'm moving freight with carriers and dispatchers right now. Okay. I mean, if that works for you. I mean, I never had a dispatcher. I dispatched myself. I never used a dispatcher. I had a bad experience. I tried to use a girl. Well, I keep saying girl because I'm old. I'm old, y'all. So everybody's a girl. This young lady I tried to use when I first started because people were like, get a dispatcher, get a dispatcher. I used to be in sales. I don't take no for an answer, and I can sell you a rock, and you're going to come back and want an extra rock for your girlfriend because that's just my personality. I'm going to make you see the value in having this rock that I have, and you're going to want more rocks. Well, I need you to have that same energy when you're calling and trying to book load for me. And this girl was like, well, your authority is new. I said, honey, I didn't ask you that. I need you to book the load. I don't care about the authority being new because that doesn't matter. These brokers can see that. So I had that one bad experience, and from that point forward, I dispatched myself. I drove the truck and dispatched at the same time. So I never had that experience. So if it works for you, that's fine. It just didn't work for me. My company is 5 years old. I had to step back away twice. And honey, that's fine. Trust me. Now I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to do box truck and trailer. Yeah, I mean, again, you got to do what works for you. And me personally, I don't feel any kind of way about pivoting. I'm the pivot queen. Like, if I feel like I need to pivot and do something else, I'm going to do it. And I don't really, and I'm the type of person too, like, I don't get on the internet and share every intricate detail of my life because it's not relevant because people are going to judge anyway. So the more stuff you keep close to the chest, it's easier for you to do what you need to do and do what works for you because now you're not under the stress of people's opinions. Some shit you got to keep to yourself. It's not necessary for you to share every single detail of your life. Just do what you have to do. People will never know the difference and just keep it moving. So no, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Sorry, I had to step away. Didn't hear the answer. Can you go straight through the? Oh, yeah. No, I was saying you can, but you have to be able to. Delta has they have a lot of luggage. So unless you're able to come with a lot of vans to move all their stuff, like it has to be worth it for them to use you versus using what they're doing. So if you're able to accommodate them in terms of vehicles and frequency of pickups and that whole thing, then yes. But if not, you're gonna have to go through somebody that already has a contract. Now, when you get to the point where you got your weight up and you got a couple of vans and you can present yourself, you say, hey, I've got 10 vans. I can work this metropolitan area for you. We can have a van here every hour to pick up luggage or whatever the things are because they have a lot of luggage. So, you can't just show up with your one little van. That ain't gonna work. That's not helping them. So it has to be, they have to see the value in wanting to work with you, put it that way. Okay, I think I got all the questions. I appreciate y'all. This has been really good. I just decided to hop on today because I'm gonna try to do more lives. Like I wasn't doing a lot of lives. I don't know why. I just don't do them, and I love doing them because I love talking to y'all. But I just haven't been able to get online as much. No, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your questions and your input. You guys have been awesome. Okay, well, if you don't have any further questions, then I will be online tomorrow. Like I said, I'll be on at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time because I don't know what time, if it's Central or Eastern, like I said. And we're going to talk about getting your business properly set up. I don't know how long it takes to get approved for Roadie because, like I said, everybody and their grandma is jumping on Roadie. So I've been on Roadie. I haven't been doing Roadie consistently. Like I only do it when I get bored or if I want some extra money or whatever. But when I got on Roadie, it was like 2018. So no one was on Roadie. So at that point, it was like a couple of days. Now I hear people saying it's been months to a year. So I really don't know. I really don't. So first thing I need to do to get started, besides DBA, what's next? Do you have an LLC? Just put me on the waiver. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is get an LLC. So you need to file an LLC with your state, and you don't need to use a third party for that. You can go on your state website to your state corporations division and file an LLC. So you need to get an LLC, then you need an EIN, then you need to get a business bank account. Once you have those things, then you can basically start doing any work. And even when you're doing like the gig work, the price of the LLC varies by state. So it's normally like $125, but it varies by state. Any gig work or anything, I will put it under the LLC. So that way you can write off things on your taxes related to the work that you're doing. There's no cost for the EIN. The EIN is free through the IRS. I have one more question. So once my authority age, what is a safe time frame to start booking? As soon as you can get people to. So what you have to do is you have to. So this is what I'm going to do too. So I'm going to put the list of couriers, and give me a little time. It's like 4 o'clock here, so give me till like 7. I'm going to put the list of couriers on my website, and I'm also going to put the list of brokers. So what you have to do is you have to go on the broker website and see if they will allow you to register as a carrier. So they all have different time frames for when they will accept you as a carrier. Some of them are 30 days, some of them are 60 days, some of them are 90 days, whatever the amount of days are. When you go into their system to complete the carrier packet, it will tell you when they allow you to do it. So if let's just say your authority is new and your authority is 30 days old. Some of them, like TQL, will take you at 30 days. Even though TQL is crap, they have work and they will allow you to book a load with them for 30 days. Some of them won't. Some of them you have to wait 6 months. Some of them you have to wait a year. So once the carrier packet is completed, you're able to book with the broker. So it just really depends on when these people, you're gonna have to do some research to see when they allow you to complete the carrier packet, because you can't book the load until you can complete the carrier packet. That's the key. Let's see. Okay, I'm trying to move off my semi to cargo or box. I have an S. Yeah, I mean you can do it with the SUV. I mean, you can get on freight and do SUV work. You can do airspace. You can do courier. You can do all of those with the SUV. The EIN is free with the IRS. Yeah, that's 90 to 180 days. So that's what I'm saying. So that's why you got to go through each one and see at what point they allow you to complete the carrier packet. Because once you can complete the carrier packet, you can book the load. But if you can't complete the carrier packet, if you're not within the time frame that they allow you to complete the carrier packet, then you can't book the load. So that's the first step. Where or how do I get the authority? On the FMCSA website. And like I said, we can file that paperwork for you. I think we charge $300 to do the paperwork. And then the filing fee for the authority is $300. And then you need your UCR, you need your BOC3. Does Amazon Relay accept new? No, they don't. For Amazon Relay, you have to be 6 months active authority. And that does not mean DOT. That means active authority paying insurance for 6 months for Amazon Relay. What was she named? Okay, Michael at Michelle. I don't have my glasses. I don't understand your question about the company. Can you transfer your gig work under a new LLC? Say you have been doing gig work. Yeah, you can change it anytime you want. You just go into your profile and update it. Well, it's your stuff. You can update it as you see fit. If I get my EIN, DOT, I can let my authority marinate without. Yes, just because you have it does not mean you have to do anything with it. And at this point, you're gonna have to let it marinate because they're not accepting new authorities. So I would put it on a personal vehicle that's under 10,000 pounds. If the vehicle is under 10,000 pounds, like a Sprinter or my Tahoe or whatever, the authority, the FMCSA only requires $300,000 worth of liability insurance to keep it active. So I would definitely do that and sit on it than to lose it. Have you ever heard of paying a lane fee for loads? No, I'm not paying no fees. There's no reason for you to be paying a fee. That's some spam stuff. So you don't need to be paying fees. Can you post companies for SUV? So SUV would be Curry, Freight, Airspace, Roadie. You can do Dolly with an SUV. You can do Dispatch with SUV. Have you seen anything from Amazon Relay for Sprinter vans? No. So the only way that you can do Amazon Relay with a Sprinter van is if a broker requests it. And I found this out because I was on LinkedIn looking for Amazon Relay brokers, and I reached out to a broker, and because I was looking for a contract for a box truck, and she told me that, but they don't have a lot. Like the smallest they have is like for a cube van, a cube truck. I think they're like the 19 footers, but they don't have a lot of work for Relay for Sprinters because all they're moving for Amazon Relay is Gaylords and pallets, so they don't have a lot of small work. What was the name of that company you just mentioned that will let you work under 30 days authority? TQL. And like I said, TQL, oof. TQL sucks. Like there's just no other way to put it. TQL is one of those brokers that has a lot of work, but they lowball you. They lowball you to death. But if you're just getting started and you're trying to work, you can work. I think if you have a new authority, like 30 days, they'll take you, but they lowball you to death. But you can get work from TQL, but just keep in mind that their rates suck. Like there's no other way to put it. Can you pin the carriers that work with new authority on your page? No, I'm gonna put. It's already on a list. I just have to put it on my website. So I'm gonna put the list on the website, and I'll make it free, so you can just download the whole list because it's already. I mean, it's a whole page, maybe 2 pages. So I'll put it on the website. Just give me like till 8:00. I know. Sorry, I talk fast. I don't know, and I get excited because I get passionate about teaching people, and I talk fast. So you tell me to slow down, put it in the notes. I can do that. It's not a problem. You can build the report. Absolutely. Yeah, you can negotiate with TQL, but they lowball you. It doesn't matter because, again, let's just say something is, they offer it for $500 and it should be $1,500. They're just gonna tell you no and hang up. Like they're rude. Like I can't even explain it to you. I can't. I've had great experience with TQL and I've had poor experiences with TQL. I've moved freight for TQL. I've moved a lot of freight for TQL. I've used TQL to get out of Florida because anybody that has a box truck or a semi or whatever that's moving freight to Florida, you can't get out of Florida. I've used TQL to get out of Florida. I've also had an experience where TQL, the shipper drilled 82 holes in the back of the box truck without my knowledge, because sometimes you back up to a dock and they don't allow you on the dock. They drilled all these holes into the floor of my truck that I could see the light through, and then it wouldn't pay me for it. So I've had all of the experiences with TQL. I've had great luck with TQL as this. Good. Like I said, it's a love-hate relationship because they have a lot of work, but they just suck. I mean, as far as pricing, as far as rates and being fair, I don't think they're fair. That's just my opinion. JB, the website is on my link. Here, I'll put it here. Because don't the brokers want to know? Because don't the brokers want to know how you've been working with? What do you mean? They're not going to ask you. They're not going to ask you who else you've worked for. They're basically looking at the age of your authority. Like unless you've done anything wrong and you've been freight guarded or they've put some poor information in Carrier 411, which they can do, and you don't have any access to it and you don't know that it's there. That's, other than that, they don't ask. They're just looking at the age of your authority. And so when you do crazy stuff like, the freight is damaged when you get there, or you're excessively late, or you're not communicating with them, you're not using, I'm putting it on my website. I put the link in the thing. You're not communicating, you're not using the tracking, you're being nasty, whatever. They put all that stuff in Carrier 411. So when you call a broker to book a load, they're all looking in Carrier 411 to see if there are any negative comments about your business. That's why I said you have to be mindful of who's driving on your authority, because all this stuff about your business is going to Carrier 411. So, and you don't have access to it, you can't dispute it, you have to be a broker to see it. So that's the only thing, like negative stuff. You have negative stuff out there that you may not even be aware of. Like if you're a big one that people do is trying to go to the shipper and trying to work directly for the shipper after you've been under a load for a broker, and back soliciting. You can't do that. If you in the carrier packet, depending upon your carrier packet, most of them have a back solicitation clause where you can't go to the shipper and try to work with them directly. They'll put that in Carrier 411, and then no one will work with you, and you'll be wondering why you're being blackballed. Well, that's the reason. So, it's like that. Where will you be putting this list later on my website? I put the link up here, and the link is also in my bio. And like I said, it'll be free. I'm not going to charge you for it or anything. Are there any other questions? Anybody? Oh yeah, I've had tons of direct shippers. Like when I first started, I had my first direct shipper was a vending machine business that the broker decided to retire, and I was moving these vending machines. I was moving remanufactured vending machines for a shipper out of Rome, Georgia. So it was Rome to New Orleans, Rome to Albany, Rome to Valdosta, Rome to Macon, Rome to Fort Pierce. Like I was just delivering remanufactured machines back to their other company, and the broker decided to retire. And so I asked him if he would sell me the business, but he didn't want to. He just wanted to just bow out. So he gave me that. So that was my first one. And so I had that one. I had a contract with RXO. I had one with Mohawk Carpets. I think I had like 5 when I first started. And like I said, and then I got out the truck. So, that was in 2023. So it's definitely better to work directly with the shippers. Oh yeah, you always want to have your direct contract, because like my first direct contract with the vending machines, I was getting paid $3.25 a mile. So yeah, the broker was paying me $2, I want to say, and I negotiated $3.25. So yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, again, you have to think about the broker is taking their portion as well. So, and I'm still learning that, because we're going to be my company is also going to have broker authority. So I'm learning the broker side right now. But everybody has to get paid. So, if you're working directly with the shipper, then you're not having to deal with the broker taking their percentage out. So you absolutely want to have as many direct contracts as you want. But the bigger thing is here, you have to be able to fulfill what that shipper has. So like take my vending machine business, for instance, they were getting vending machines that were damaged, brought in, they were fixing them, and then they were going out. So their shipments may have been like every other day. So it was myself and 2 other trucks, and we were managing all of their freight going out. But that wasn't a lot. But like the other example that we were talking about, Delta and the luggage, you're talking about 50, 60 bags coming in every 30 minutes. That's not going to take one truck. So you have to understand, the amount that the person is shipping per day, their volume, and can you meet that volume? And because they're not going to, and that's the whole purpose of a broker. Like these people, and I have to look at it from my perspective as a manufacturer for my other business. Like I don't have time to call 15 different trucking companies to get them to come and move something for me. I'd rather just call one person and call the broker because I don't have that kind of time. I just need stuff moved. So I don't have time to call you to find out where your truck is, and then you tell me that your truck is in Orlando, and then I call somebody else, and he's like, oh, no, the truck is in Chicago. So now I'm on the phone all day trying to figure out how to find a truck. That's what the broker's for. So when people complain, when motor carriers complain about brokers and we don't need brokers and all of that, we do. Because who's going to be on the phone calling Tom, Dick, and Harry trying to find a truck? So, every time I get a load, I think about if I'm getting this amount, I wonder how much they got it for. Yeah, but you have to understand is as a broker, they've taken time to build these relationships over time. They understand the industry and there's value to that. And I tell people all the time, if you have a problem with the broker, then do it yourself. And then you'll see how difficult it is because it's not easy. So whatever they're getting, as far as I'm concerned, as long as I get what I need, I don't really care what they're getting because I just need to make sure that I get what I need out of the deal. So I'll give you an example. When I was driving my truck, my cost per mile for the truck was $1.29, I believe. So I was trying to get at least $2.50 a mile on my truck. That was the minimum that I wanted for my truck. That was my starting point, was $2.50 a mile. And again, this was in 2023. So as long as I'm getting what I need, I'm not really getting into the whole discussion about how much the broker's taking off the top of what their relationship that they cultivated, because it is their relationship. Because for me to have to go out as a new motor carrier or even as a seasoned motor carrier and go out and try to build these relationships and fulfill relationships, I have one truck. So it's very limited what I can do with one truck. I can't be all things to all people. So if there's a broker that can give me a job doing something, then of course I'm gonna take it. But you can't expect to go out and do all the things. You only have one truck. So that's why I don't get into how much the broker's getting paid. I don't care. I could care less. As long as I get what I need, you can get whatever you want. I don't care. And because at the end of the day, I'm sure these brokers are getting probably 60% of the load. I'm sure. But I don't care because, as long as I get what I feel like is fair for me to move it, that's their business. Someone makes profit on everything we buy. I couldn't be more concerned. Yeah, everybody has their thoughts. We're all a piece of the pie. And again, like I say, when people say that, true enough, it's just the rates for Sprinter vans are low. I know, but the fix for that is to go get your own contract. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't complain both ways. I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying in general. Like, if the rates off of a load board or working with a broker are too low for you, then go get a contract. And then that way you don't even have to worry about who's getting what. But getting a contract is not easy because, again, you have to have the equipment to move the freight. And if you don't have the equipment to move the freight, it's going to be difficult for you to even get a contract because you can't fulfill, what they have. So it's kind of a catch-22. And to be honest with you, the people that are moving the freight, like, you're at the bottom of the food chain because there's so many other people that are getting, you got freight forwarders that are getting paid, you got brokers that are getting paid before you even get a piece of the pie. Like, there's so many other people getting paid. And so, because like I was telling a friend of mine, like, I'm doing a custom broker licensing because, like, you got to get further up the top of the food chain because the people that are moving the freight are at the bottom of the food chain. You're getting what's left. And so if that's a problem, then get further up the food chain and look at ways to expand your business so that you're up the rung a little bit and not fighting over the scraps. And the other part of that is general freight. Everybody's fighting over general freight. Find something that everybody's not doing. Because if you can niche down and do something that people are not doing, there's less people doing it. So you can demand more money to do it. But when you're out fighting for the same thing, everybody's fighting for the same thing. General freight is all the same stuff. It is what it is. So, okay, y'all. I'm tired now. I'm gonna go play with the cat. So I'll see y'all tomorrow, 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. And we're gonna talk about business setups and stuff like that. And then I'll try to jump on again later in the week. Thank you, love. I appreciate you too. All right, y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.